Hi everyone, my name's Paula. What I'm going to start blogging about is I'm taking this new miracle drug for Hep C. It's called Harvoni, and it's only until recently released to the public, and then I had to wait a little while longer because I am a liver transplant person, and they wanted to make sure that, you know, things were okay with liver transplant people. So that's why I'm kind of starting this, because there's a lot of people who have no idea what's going on with themselves or how they're supposed to feel or if this is normal or if this is not normal. I'm on a couple of Facebook pages. If you want to know those, you can ask me in a message. If you want to know what they are. But that has helped me a lot, but it's also made me realize that, we don't know a lot about how you're supposed to feel, um, what to expect, and all those things. So that's really what I'm going to try to accomplish with this blog. And I'm going to do it. This is week 5 of my treatment. I wish I would have started at week 1, but, things happen. So I'm starting at week 5. And honestly, I didn't really have many difficulties until week 3. So I'll be discussing what has happened, what had started, and how I felt when I first started, and all those things. But first, I'd really like to give you a little background about me and what I've been through. And it's kind of been a lot, but I was originally diagnosed with Hep C in 92 was when I found out I had it. I didn't know up until that time in 92. I basically lived my whole life not knowing that I had it. I received a transfusion when I was 12, 13, or around in that. I had a operation, and when they got in, it was just a minor procedure. I had what's called fistulas on my neck, and it was a minor procedure, and they went in, and all of a sudden they found that this fistula, which is kind of like a cyst thing, had went all the way this side, all the way back up here, and was, grabbing onto my throat and all the things over on this side of my neck. So it was way more than they expected when they went in. So during that time, they had given me a transfusion. And, back then, that was 12, um, late 60s, I think. Early 70s, maybe 71. I'm 58, so yeah, you figured out, because math's never been my strong suit. But back then they didn't screen for blood. They didn't know anything really about blood-borne diseases. And then you had all these guys that were coming back from Vietnam at that point. And, to get through the war, they did drugs and shared needles and all those things. And so that's kind of, I think, where they've pretty much traced the Hep C virus back to, was Vietnam and the Asian countries at that point. But I'm not a scholar about it, so, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Just do it nicely, okay, everybody out there? So I had this transfusion, and it was infected with hepatitis C virus. At the time, it wasn't even a named virus. It was usually called non-A, non-B. So proceeding on through my life from 12 years old until I was 30-ish. Told you, math's not my strong suit. And my husband and I started our own businesses, so we were then self-employed. We had to go get life insurance and that sort of thing. So they had done a test on me, and they said, wow, your liver functions are really high. You need to go see somebody. And so I did. And they said, the doctor was saying, well, you have hepatitis C. And then I was kind of like, you know how you are when they're telling you about medical things. I'm like, blah, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Virus, I hear him say virus, yeah, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He's going on, and I said, excuse me, it's a virus. You give me some, antibiotics or something, and I'm okay, right? And he said, no, I give you some treatment, and it may work and it may not work, but eventually what happens with the virus is it goes into your liver and destroys your liver, and you'll either die, most likely you'll die. If you're lucky, you'll have a transplant. I said, well, okay. Hit me in the head with a brick. So, I went home and cried with my husband, and he's told me I'm gonna die. All the emotions that you go through when they tell you you have a life-threatening illness. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go with that. As you always do in life, you adjust. This is the card you're dealt, and you're gonna go with it. So I proceed to do the treatment, which was highly unsuccessful. But it was like walking through hell to get through it. But I did it, and then I was done, and it was unsuccessful. Yippee! So, fast forward, I don't know, several, 4, 5, 6 years, and the guy says, oh, we've got a new treatment now. We're going to put it with the previous treatment, interferon, and we also add ribavirin to it, which is an anti-malarial, antivirus drug. I'm like, okay. And at that time, I never knew to ask about, what's your cure rate? What's this? What's that? So I was quite accepting of things back then, and I didn't really ask questions. Not that I thought doctors were God or anything. I just figured they were doing their job and they knew what they were doing. So I took that treatment, and that was 6 months. I went through that. And it was even worse. Oh, my hair fell out, barely moved from the bed. I'd go to the sleep in the bed and then get up and go to the TV couch, and then I'd go back to bed. That sort of thing. It was awful. Awful, awful. Puked a lot. Lost, I don't know, 20, 30 pounds. So that was fun. So, and I was willing to go through it because, I wanted this, as we call it, dragon out of my body. And so I accepted that, and I went through it for 6 months, and they took what is called, at that time, a PCR level, meaning how much virus is in your blood system. And they had taken it when I started the treatment. Well, my PCR level, my viral load, didn't move 1 iota in that 6 months. I mean, it was the same from when I started. And the doctor's like, well, okay, if you're just on it another 6 months, I think you'll be cured. You'll be cured. And I just went, you know what? No. Until you guys can figure out something that can give me an absolute, or at least a close to a cure, I'm not doing this again. So I think that was maybe 96 or somewhere around there. So I just kind of carried on with my life. And as most of us with hepatitis C do, you get to the point where feeling crappy and tired and low energy constantly is just a way of life, and you adapt to it. And that's all you can do. Once again, those are the cards that are dealt to you, and you accept that and try to make the best life that you can. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. So that's where we are at this point. I'm going to try to make these short blogs for those of you who have short attention spans. So that's where I am in this journey. I've done 2 interferon and ribavirin treatments with no success. And I have kind of moved on through my life up until this point. Now, I'm going to switch gears, and I hope eventually this will all make sense to you. I'm going to fast forward a bit and tell you about now and the Harvoni treatment, because that's why some of you are here. So I started Harvoni and ribavirin together December 25th, Christmas of 2014. And I wanted to start, and I wanted to do it, and I wanted to get it out of the way, because now Harvoni has a 95 success rate, as opposed to, I think the highest in interferon and ribavirin was maybe 30-40%. I didn't know enough to ask back then. It's 95%. 95% of the people who take it get what they call a cure. No virus in your blood system. And I am just thrilled about it all. And I'm thrilled that I know right now there are millions of you out there that are slaying the dragon, and when you're done, it's going to be a wonderful thing not to feel tired and crappy all the time. And once you feel healthy again, you're going to know that you, like me, were just soldiering on day to day, doing your job, interacting with your close friends and your spouses and your partners and all those things, because your body and you adapt to the situation. So what I feel right now is my job is to tell you what I have been through and what I'm going through right now, and hope that we all get through this together and know that what we're going through at this moment, a whole bunch of other people are going through it too. And it's not just you, and you're not alone. Because all of the other treatments I've done before, I was alone, and nobody but me could understand what I was going through. But, social media now has created a whole new world for us. So this is going to be my gift and my hope and all those things to you out there who are watching, that you're not alone, and what you're feeling, other people are feeling. Okay, so today we're starting on my 5th week of Harvoni and ribavirin, and it's a 12-week treatment. Okay, so I will tell you today, up until this point, what has been going on with me. And honestly, I will say that I didn't feel too much at all until about the 3rd week. I had some slight headaches, and which I found if I would just drink a lot of water, which I'm going to do right now to show you, with my Avera glass. I'm being treated at Avera in Sioux Falls. Yay, Avera. So I didn't really deal with too much until about the 3rd week. And then all of a sudden, excuse me, I started feeling really tired. And I also noticed that I was getting real kind of weepy. Watching movies. I can't remember what the first movie I noticed it was. It was Josh Brolin and Kate Winslet. See, another thing that happens to you, you get really foggy in your brain, and you can't really think of things, and things just fly out of your mind, and you begin to think, you're going into Alzheimer's or something. So, anyway, it was Josh Brolin and Kate Winslet, and right now the name escapes me, but it was kind of a Notebook kind of like movie, where they're in love and blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching it, and at the end, I am just weeping away. And really, honestly, I'm not a weeper. I don't cry that easily anymore. I've been a strong person most of my life, and so I'm not a weeper. I'm not a person who my mind, um, runs off in all different directions and goes off the track. And I'm a controlled, I guess, person in my mind. And so it was quite shocking to me after about 3 weeks on this treatment that all of a sudden I was becoming weepy, and my emotions were like up and down, like a roller coaster. Zoom! 1 minute, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd get myself centered, and I usually do that by some breathing exercises, and then I put a couple of really uplifting tunes in my MP3 player, and I just kind of focus on my day and draw strength from things around me and the earth and all those things. And so I start out the day feeling really cool, good, centered, and happy, and all those things. And as the day goes on, it's like a roller coaster. I'll read a message from somebody that's they're, hang in there, Paula, it's going to be okay. And then I just start crying. And then I read a message from somebody that just pisses me off. And I'm like, I'm a little chihuahua. And I am not that way. So if this is happening to you, take a step back and just breathe a little bit, and it's gonna pass. Okay, it's gonna pass. So that was the start of things, of my kind of feeling more side effects. And then I went to the get my blood test done, and they called and they said, your hemoglobin count is really low. I think you need to go get a transfusion. My hemoglobin count was, there's something on my screen. There we go. My hemoglobin count was like 8, okay? Normal people, their hemoglobin count is usually between 11 and 13. And I tend to run a little low anyway. So it was at 8. About 8. And usually with just normal hep C people, other people, 7 is when they begin to get alarmed. But since I'm a liver transplant patient, which of course later I'll talk about that too, since I'm a liver transplant patient, when it gets to 8, they get concerned. So I went and got a transfusion the next day. And honestly, walking into that transfusion place, it was like I almost had to crawl in there. I was so tired. But my appointment was at 7:30, got out at noon, and my cheeks were pink again. I was like alert again and awake and all those things. So God, thank those people who give blood, because I'm telling you, it's a miracle as well. So I had a transfusion, and then they gave me an injection that kind of helps build my bone marrow and hemoglobin and all those sort of things. If you want technical information, certainly message me, and I'll give you that exact drug, okay? So now I feel okay. I can tell that I'm a little low. I'm about half pint low. But it's okay. Really now when I do a task and walk around too much, then I just get a little out of breath, and then I sit down and breathe and drink water, and then I'm okay. So that part is good. But yesterday, excuse my French, was a fucking lunatic. There is no other word to say. I was just nuts. My best friend I messaged her and I was asking her all these questions, like, do you hate me now? Why haven't you called me? It was just absurd. And, she wrote back and said, Paula, no, it's all okay. Nothing, and told me what a good friend I was and all those things. So while I'm reading her response, I'm bawling like a baby. And I'm like, okay. Then later on in the day, somebody said something to me on Facebook, and I was just like, ah, it just made me so angry. So, of course, whenever I'm falling apart like that, which seems to be every day now, used to be once a year maybe, I called my best friend. And she just kept saying, Paula, this didn't start, because I kept saying, this is just not like me. I don't understand. I don't understand. This is not like me. She said, Paula, this hasn't happened before until you started the medication. And so then I thought about it. Well, yeah, that's true. So once again, if this is what you're going through, you're not alone. There's other people out there right now that are just crazy as well and are freaking out because it's not their normal state of being. Right now, it is going to be your state of being. It helped me because my husband, who's been, believe me, through every horrific thing I've been through, knows, and he just sometimes just stands back and lets me rave, or grabs my hand, tells me it's going to be okay, all of those things. So if you give a heads up to the people around you that you're going to be a lunatic for the next 12 weeks or 24, whatever regimen they have you on, that might help as well. So this is my story at week 5. I'm going Monday, which is the 26th. I'm going for an appointment with my doctor to get my 4-week blood test results. And at 4 weeks, this is where traditionally most people are either what they call cured, or no viral load at all, or their viral load has significantly dropped. Mine, when I started, was 1.5 million of the virus per however they measure it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert, so don't call me on that, okay? But it was 1.5 million. That's the number that's I am, 1.5 million. My hopes and dreams are that on Monday they're going to tell me that is either I'm at 0 or significantly. I mean, we're talking most people are down to maybe 9. I mean, 9, not 1.5 million, but 9, around in there. So those are my hopes for this appointment. Okay. So in closing today, I'm going to wrap this all up, and I've told you what I hope to do and where I've been with my treatments on Hep C. In further blogs, I'll start telling you about how having Hep C led up to a liver transplant and the whole miracle of that, and all those wonderful things that happen when you're given a second chance at life. I want to be uplifting and hopeful, and if I'm not, I'll just blame it on the medication. So I love you guys, and I hope that you'll all listen. I think I'll probably do these once a week. Okay, and I hope that's all right for you. And just check in once a week after you subscribe to my video blog. And life's good. Keep on keeping on. What other cliche can I use? Peace, Love out. Thanks.